So with that, we've been having a lot of success with partners in Dialpad, and we're going to go through some of those differentiators today. So just by introduction, my name is Sean Fenton. I'm the account executive here for Florida, also working specifically within the channel. So there are some familiar faces here and some of you I haven't worked with. And here I also have Mike White, who's our engineer, working closely with us here. So I'm based in South Florida. Maybe it took me half an hour, not even to get here. So in terms of support, not only do you have myself, many of you might have met John Haberman as well. Emily, there's a whole team that we have that's supporting Florida. So any resources that you need, we're here to work with you and win with you. So a few things that we wanted to touch on. Number one, Dialpad. So for those who are not familiar with Dialpad, we actually do have a really strong telephony and communications pedigree. And this goes with regular communication and also, of course, with contact center. So when you look at our company, we were founded in 2011. Our founder, Craig Walker, is actually the one who created Google Voice. So prior to Google Voice, they had a company called Grandstand. It was purchased by Google, which then morphed into Google Voice. And then they left Google to create Dialpad in 2011. Now, as we know, many of our customers are away from the office. Obviously, with the pandemic, they're in a hybrid, some are back in the office. Dialpad was created with that mobile user mentality first. So Dialpad was actually created post-iPhone, which means that our mentality is we're going to provide all the tools so that everyone could do whatever they would normally do in the office. So whether it's picking up a phone, whether it's an agent logging into a contact center, into a queue, you could do all those things away from the office, from your mobile phone, from laptop, and also from a tablet. When we look at our past, in 2012, we launched our Dialpad meetings. So some of you might have used, for example, an Uber conference. And we have, when you log into our meetings, you hear that funny song of, waiting in line or waiting for someone to join the meeting. That was back in 2012. And in 2014 is when we launched our Dialpad Talk solution. And that was really our first introduction into our voice solution. So again, Dialpad is built in the cloud, and coming from Google, all of our brains is in the Google Cloud. So we are a true cloud provider. No need for servers in the corners, no need for any of that with our customers. Everything is all based on their data and their internet, which of course many of you are working with your customers on their network circuits. So as we fast forward now, we look in 2017 where we had this work from anywhere model, partnership with Salesforce. So many of our customers are having Salesforce. We have a direct integration with Salesforce as well, of course, Microsoft Teams and things that your customers are using. And then you see there, we go into 2019. That's when we created our Dialpad Cell product. And our Dialpad Cell is our outbound contact center solution as well. Again, this is all under the same Dialpad platform. And then as you fast forward there, you see there in 2021, 2021 is when Dialpad really made a splash into the contact center environment. And this is where we extended some of those capabilities, knowing that our customers, just like we're consumers, we're calling into somebody, waiting on the line, pressing 1 for this and going through that process. We started realizing that there's more functionality that consumers are looking for based on the digital component, right? So many of the consumers today are communicating via social media, the website, other ways to communicate to our customers, and we are consumers, and depending on who you are, you might like to go through social media or LinkedIn to communicate to some of the products and services that you work with today. So Dialpad, what we did, we made some acquisition and bolstered our products so that you're going to see a lot more about Dialpad in the contact center space, especially from Gartner as we are looking forward to some of the updates coming forward. In 2022, we made a Google partnership again. We are in the Google Cloud Platform, which provides some really good differentiators for us at Dialpad. And one of those main things is that Dialpad is one platform. So you have your customers have the regular user, UCaaS. We also have full CCaaS contact center under the same umbrella. So in any situation, think of yourself as a consumer. You call into whatever contact center and they have to transfer you to a specific representative that's outside of the contact center. Did you know that if the provider does not own the technology, all of that reporting and analytics is not necessarily there and is not transcended between two different systems? With Dialpad, it's all transcend between one system because we own the technology. So a call could come into a regular rep sitting in the office at headquarters, and they have to transfer someone now to the customer service group. They transfer to the customer service group, and that communication, that call recording, all of that continues because it's one platform. And that's actually why we won that deal that Dan was mentioning. Our ability to have one platform where a call could come into the contact center, you could have full visibility into the agent, that ability to see what's happening with our voice intelligence, which we'll talk about, and all that AI, and then transfer that call to an individual user, you have all that capability there. That allowed us to win the deal because who we were competing against, they did not own the technology, and as soon as those calls were transferred, there we go. And as soon as those calls were transferred, they lost that ability to do the call recording. They lost the ability to get the analytics. And we were able to showcase that with Dialpad, and that's actually one of the reasons why we won the deal. So when you look at the systems that your customers are leveraging, they might be having something for regular phone calls, they might be having something for agents, and having all of that under one umbrella with Dialpad is why we win a lot of our deals as well. So you see there TrueCast, and all that is that ability to have somebody as an agent be on a call, being able to get access to whatever type of resources, whether it's subject matter experts, through texting, through messaging, or through group chat, all of that could be done within the same platform. Okay. So when we talk about the world's most advanced AI contact center, right? So we all heard the word AI, and it's a very big deal when AI is actually used in the right terms. So for example, with Dialpad, a few things. As we know, calls come inbound into a contact center, and there's many ways of how it gets to a particular agent. When that call is actually taking place now, there's a variety of ways that the contact center and the customer can actually get, whether it's to an agent, to the information they're looking for, or whether they're confirming information, whether I have an appointment at 5 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. Our ability to understand that communication allows customers to resolve a lot faster as well. So whether calls are coming inbound, whether they're going outbound, or whether we're looking at digital, right? So for those of us that have kids, we know kids don't like picking up the phone, but you sure know that they're going to text somebody, or they're going to go on Twitter, or they're going to do those things as well. Our customers also know that, and that's why digital is extremely important to them. So all the customers that you have, they're not only looking for ways to manage calls as they are coming in through the contact center, but they're also looking at ways to manage what's happening within the digital atmosphere. What's happening on their website? Is somebody actually texting or tweeting the company based on an experience they just had? So at Dialpad, not only are we managing those calls coming in, but we're also looking at what's happening in the digital atmosphere. And again, I could be an agent, I could have calls come into me, or I could actually manage those text messages or those digital elements that are coming as well into the contact center. So one platform to support all of your communication. And then as we look at that, a few things take place. Voice intelligence from Dialpad. So as those calls are coming in, our voice intelligence is able to recognize those keywords. I could be proactive and I could enter keywords as well, so that as calls are coming in, and if everyone, for example, calls are coming in, they're talking about steak. Every time that steak is mentioned, that agent could get a pop-up message that'll automatically direct them in terms of where they're going to get the information on the steak, the cuts, all those different information. That allows that agent to be more sufficient and efficient on that call. And that, of course, allows that contact center to now turn from a contact center and actually being able to generate revenue in different ways as well. So from a voice intelligence perspective, this is all part of the Dialpad platform. So for those of you that have used Dialpad meetings, you'll see that the transcription's there. Same thing with phone calls, and also same thing, of course, with anything coming into the contact center. From an output perspective, this is where it becomes important. So for those supervisors or agents, both of them have the ability to see what's happening in real time. But from when it comes to coaching, there's different tools as well that we provide for the supervisors to be able to make those changes in real time. And again, this goes from calls that are coming into the contact center, transferred to a subject matter expert, and maybe transferred back. All that is within the same platform. With other solutions, you cannot do that. You can make those transfers, but all the reporting and analytics is then broken. And that's a key thing for many customers because they don't want to have to manage multiple solutions to get basic information. Okay. So the Dialpad AI, very important. So real-time and proprietary across Dialpad's entire system. You don't have to pay anything extra to leverage the AI that's built in with the Dialpad platform. And that's very important because in some solutions, when customers are leveraging it, they're looking to leverage some of these additional components, including AI. And this is something that's all across the board with Dialpad. Self-learning specific to our customers. So we know that we have customers from all different industries, and we know that you all work with different customers in different industries that specialize in specific things. We also know that they have certain keywords that are only important to their industry. At Dialpad, our platform is not only self-learning, but like I said, you could also add those keywords so it's identifying those things for your agents and also for supervisors as they're managing it. So when talking to your customers, it's not about just saying, hey, how are agents managing phone calls? It's really digging into how is it impacting the entire business, whether it's sales, whether it's support, or whether it's somebody out in the field who needs to understand how calls could be routed to that individual as well. Okay? And one thing that we're going to talk about as well, predictive CSAT. For those of you who know, how many here at the end of a call click that button to take the time to do a survey at the end of a call? Don't lie now. I know there's got to be somebody, right? So that's clearly an issue in the industry, and we know that as well. So part of our AI is that we provide different tools that is going to understand how the call is going. It's going to leverage the sentiment, and then from there, it's going to help customers create automatic CSAT scores. And this is very important because this is actually what impacts how customers are making, how companies are making decisions to support companies. This alone has allowed customers to come to Dialpad because they didn't have that visibility before, and getting 3% additional visibility, 10% additional visibility is key to the business. So again, digging deeper than just having a phone call coming to the contact center is important for our customers. So with that said, this is a quote from Dion at CareRev, and one of the things that we always hear from our customers is the impact of having everything under one platform. So the quote was, "I use VI extensively to look at live calls. The transcript just makes it easier for me to look up an answer and questions for someone on the call, and if a caller is demanding an answer for someone to speak to a manager, I can set myself to be available, and agents can transfer the call quickly to me." So a key word. So if we know, and your customers know that, for example, it's their busy time, and they know that they have a particular campaign they're running, with Dialpad in real time, they could add that keyword for that campaign, and right away it's going to be routed to the right agents. Supervisors could listen in, and they could also have that full visibility. And they could literally be sitting at their desk, or they could be logged in as an agent. So the difference there is that it's all under one platform. I could be a manager, or I could be an agent, and all of that reporting and analytics will never go away because not only is everything under one platform, it's all living in the Google Cloud platform. And especially here in Florida, when it comes to disaster recovery and hurricane preparedness, I could have all that information and continue to run whether I'm in the office or decide to click one button and move that call to my mobile phone as well. So a lot of flexibility there, all built in within the platform. Okay. Oh, yeah. So with that, we're going to talk about some of the additional components of the digital experience with Dialpad, and I'll hand it over to Mike.
Sure. Before we jump into that, I do want to go back to the CSAT, right? So we look at over 100 million parameters, over 1.3 million anonymized calls to come up with this CSAT score. If any of you have stayed on the call to do that survey, you know you're one of two people. You're really pissed off or you're really happy. So that skews everything to do with CSAT scores within the contact center. And only about 5% of people take those surveys. With this predictive survey, we can bring that up to about 70% that says, okay, this is how we're judging your business is running. Not to say that anything is 100% correct, but it's providing additional light in places that maybe you need to go look in that organization. And so that's the same thing that our transcriptions do in general. It takes all of that offline dark data that you have today that people are listening to recordings and not able to utilize very well, but we transcribe it so that you can then search it. We have customers who have changed business lines and products based upon hearing directly from their customers by doing keyword searches inside of this data. But we're excited today about self-service, and what I like about self-service for you guys the most, it is one of the only products at Dialpad that can be a standalone product. So somebody is already using a third-party contact center, they're using other things, but they want to put a chatbot on their website. You can do that with our Dialpad self-service. What makes our chatbot a little bit different though is you don't train it with intents and things along those lines. So today, if a organization wants to serve up a chatbot, I've got to go tell that chatbot 500 various questions that it needs to know answers to. So you got to know what people want in advance to program it to give the answers you want. We take a different approach. We take your existing knowledge bases, we will crawl those, and we'll go find answers to with a deep semantic search. So you type in a question, what is blah, blah, blah? Well, that lives in one of your websites someplace. It'll go search that information. What if it's not there? We'll provide an escalation path. 60% of chatbots today don't allow you to escalate out of the chatbot. Who in here has been trapped in an IVR and could never get out of it, right? Nobody likes that experience. Give me a way to escalate when I need to escalate, and that's what we do. Of course, you can escalate with our live agent chat and things along those lines, but if you've already made investments in others, just escalate there. But the beauty of it is on the backside, we will show you all of the places that your existing knowledge is deficient. And from there, you can take and begin to provide answers to that deficiency, or you can update your knowledge bases to contain those answers. So we have one customer that had 0 help pages, right? Like, so if you go to Dialpad and look at our help center, it's over 1,000 pages. But this customer had 0. We put in the bot to start out, and all it did initially was escalate, right? So you type your question in, it had nothing to go search, we would escalate. After 2 weeks, we had an idea of the places they need to update their knowledge base. You start to update that, and then it just guides you through the process. With this, we see digital resolution up to 90%. And if you look at some of the numbers on the screen, 70% of customers say they want to do self-service. They want to type in that question themselves. But 70% of the agent's time is spent doing things that it could have been easily been answered by a bot. So you marry these two things together, and you're going to start to see that maybe your need for additional agents isn't as large as you need it to be. In March, Indeed had 75,000 contact center agent positions posted. Those jobs are going to go unfilled. So AI enabling your organization using the self-service is going to be the answer that your customers are looking for, and this is your foot in the door.
And also, it's worth too asking your customers, right? That AI word is going to be a buzz for some of your customers. So ask them, what does AI mean to them? And that'll allow you to kind of go down that discussion and do a little bit more digging, which is what's going to uncover the additional opportunities.
Perfect. So we won't dig into the digital engagement very deeply today, but just know that same self-service that we're talking about on the front end, just being on your web page, we're going to start to offer that in all of your social media channels as well. And then you can put in complex workflows to guide your customers through a self-service environment, regardless of the channel that they want to communicate with you on. So if somebody wants to book their travel from Facebook, go do it. If that agent needs to take a payment for that trip that someone wants to book, we've got widgets and things built in so that you can send credit card requests and remain PCI compliant inside of the omni-channel experience. So this is the old deck. We're not doing a demo, as you guys probably already know. But any questions? Yes?
You mentioned Salesforce. Do you have any other CRMs you interface with?
Yeah, so Microsoft Dynamics, HubSpot, Zendesk, ServiceNow, Zoho.
Do you provide an API for that? Do you help with the integration?
So all of the ones I mentioned are standard. We have just out of the box. Any ones that we don't have, those are the ones we have our open APIs, and those are found directly on our website.
Yeah. And one thing that we do very well is the entire support and implementation process, which is extremely important to myself as being on the sales side and obviously working with your customers, because once you sell, you want to make sure your customers have a fantastic experience and never have to bother you all the time throughout the implementation. So we have dedicated resources that will be there for your team, a great support staff as well, so that when that handoff does take place, you'll feel good about the fact that you don't have to worry about something going wrong. And that's something that I've seen a difference. So working at 8x8 and Ring Central as well, you see the differences within the different organizations. And at Dialpad, customers support is extremely important.
Any other questions?
Not a question, but a comment. This month we sold 2 different deals. One was $40 a month, and one was $60,000 a month through Dialpad. And they didn't buy it for the phones. They bought it for the applications and the integrations that these guys do. So I want you to know that. It's not about the phones anymore, guys. It's pretty simple stuff these days. These guys integrate with everybody out there. From Gmail to Microsoft to all the CRMs out there. They customize in the right code to do anything you want them to do. So they're super cool, just so you know.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you knew that. It's not about getting franchised.
Yeah.
It's a great texting app that franchises use for all the independents. It's just a good product overall.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I made that note for you.
No, thanks.
Does that mean we can sell single seats?
You can. Yeah, you won't get Sean's help, but you can.
I deal with a lot of small businesses, so.
No, it's absolutely. Because of the way we're set up in Google Cloud, we scale very easily. So down to a single user, up to 20,000.
Because it sounds like you guys can, if a text comes in, you could have, if somebody has like 3 people, they could have any one of those people get the text.
Absolutely.
Because that's one of the biggest things I've been having problems finding.
Okay. Well, good news is you found it today. Yes, ma'am. So we are HIPAA compliant, and we will allow you to be PCI compliant, right? We don't have any software that makes you PCI compliant, but we do allow it to happen.
Could you elaborate on the texting capability a little bit based on this question? Your agents have the ability to receive and send text from multiple phone numbers?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Okay, so if like a customer texted a main phone number somewhere, you could parse that information out to everybody immediately and one person can respond right back from that number?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a great question. We actually have a customer that's doing that exact thing. What they're doing is they have a variety of different groups, and each individual in the group has, of course, their own DID, but once they're added into the group, phone numbers that go out from that group and text messages shows that one group phone number. So any calls that come back or text messages, as you can imagine, will go out to those individuals. So, and that's the beauty of it, it's software. So for Dialpad, our mentality is, hey, we're on the Google Cloud, we could configure the software, and once you hit submit or save, it's instantaneous. And we do so many different configurations for our customers, and then to the point of integration, it's all webhooks, and again, being a software company provides us with a lot of advantages.